Hi guys, so it's Hay. I'm back on here. I wanted to talk about something I'm kind of going through right now. I'm about 3 months into a 6-month training to become a breathwork facilitator with Pause Breathwork. And 2 weeks ago we did our week-long immersive period, which was for a week, 6 hours straight. Basically, I took the week off of work and went to work to become a breathwork facilitator. The entire week was spent on like deep immersion, lots of energetic trainings, trauma trainings, learning about the brain, your nervous system, how it's all connected, and how breathwork helps to calm your nervous system. But other than that, it was a chance for my whole class to actually start facilitating with other live people. So we got to do that and it was incredible. But a lot of stuff came up for me and it was kind of wild. Like, I've been on this healing journey since 2016 where I realized I am a codependent. I was raised in a alcoholic. There's addiction, abuse, physical, emotional in my childhood home. So the past 5 years have been me, learning about all that, trying to heal it, fix it, basically just create a whole new life for myself, which is what I've been doing now. You've probably, like, if you're following me on Instagram, that kind of thing, I've posted about it. Like, I've left California. I live in Texas now. I don't speak to anyone in my family. Like, when you learn about recovery, you will either have family members who are starting to wake up, who can understand what you're going through, or, maybe you don't. Maybe you're in the same boat as me. I learned about boundaries. I tried to have them with my family, but they didn't want the Haley that stood up for herself. Like, they wanted me to be that little quiet person that never said anything and just kind of, went along and kept perpetuating the dysfunction. But for me, in my healing, like, I couldn't do that anymore. So wherever you're at, there may or there may not be fallout, and it can be with your family. Like, all the friends I've had, I'm not friends with anymore. Like, awakening is hard. It is hard sometimes. And, it can be a lot of the time. That I'm not saying like there's no good, but it's not this like positive, like I don't see anything. I'm just like blobbing through life, like not looking at anything. And it's not the like toxic positivity that you can see out there. Like, sometimes it is fucking hard. And if you are alone like me, like, it gets lonely as fuck sometimes. But yeah, I'm like rambling on. Tying this back into what happened to me last week. So my class is like, I think there's 130 people. So we're all meeting in these Zoom rooms. And the second day is, the first thing we did was facilitate breath. So we're popped into a room with a stranger and we have to lead them through a session. And I was almost having a panic attack at this. Like, it's something new. It's something I've never done before. So literally all the alarm bells, like my perfectionist, like it has to be perfect. You can't fuck up, like blah, 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 like, and then something that came on for me that I've kind of, like, my mind it knew this, but I was kind of like, nah, let's not look at that right now. But this forced me, like, being put in a room with someone else, me being terrified, them being there, like, it triggered within me what I realize now is an extreme fear of being seen by somebody else. Like, and after doing this, I took some time to like sit alone and be like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck just happened? Because, like, if you come from a dysfunctional home, one where there was abuse towards you as a kid, I really want you to look at how you show up to life right now. Like, do you identify with being that shy person? Like, when people look at you, does that make you kind of want to, like, it doesn't feel good? Like, just start noticing like how you react to other people. Because I was able to, like, it's so weird, like being popped into this room and me watching through my brain what was happening, how I was reacting. It helped me realize that like I do not want to be seen right now. I'm scared, I'm showing feelings, I'm like crying, like my heart's beating a million miles an hour. And what was happening is I was literally transported in my mind back to when I was a child, and anytime I had emotion or like stood in my true being, like showed up as me to my parents, like they could not handle that. Like I was either hit by my dad or yelled at. And when you're a kid, like this fucks you up, especially if it recurs over and over. Like this is where what I've been learning about in pause and like through recovery in general, this is how protective parts are made. And the protective parts are not who you are. They're parts and pieces of you that have been extremely hurt, and they develop and adapt to whatever the hurt or abuse you've experienced, and they create a persona where you basically embody this to survive in your fucking home. So for me, that's been, you know, I call her small hay. Like, cause what she does is she is small. Like she just, the wallflower. Like my whole life I've been that wallflower person. And like, I thought that's just who I am. Cool. I'll be this fucking small person. Like you don't ever have to hear my voice. Like don't look at me. I'm not here. I'm just fucking floating around in the background. This is how I'm gonna live. But the last week with the force, that whole thing just like blew into smithereens because I was like, holy shit. That's a protective part trying to keep me safe from being annihilated from my parents. Because when you're young, you need your parents' approval for safety to live, like to survive. Your protective parts will keep you in survival. So I've kind of been going through this huge, just like, it's like a whole other awakening to like how my parents interacted with me caused me to become this person, like this fake ass person that I'm not even that person. Like if you know me personally, like you probably think I'm this shy, quiet person, and like that's not me. Because also like your parents are supposed to encourage you, to believe in you, like help you come out of your shell, like prepare you to live a good life. And like my parents just, they missed that boat. Like that didn't happen for me. So that's largely been part of my recovery, is like learning to just live bigger and like stop being this like small, scared person all the time. And it's just, it's so crazy once you see this. And I know in my heart that I am not the only person going through this right now. Like just seeing everything, you see it so clear, and it's just like, this makes so much fucking sense. Like my life makes sense now. And now becomes like the hard part of like facing and seeing this programming and making different choices. And you know, I haven't really heard anyone talk about how fucking difficult it is to make different choices outside of your protective parts. That like my life coach Lisa Romano talks about childhood programming, and basically for me this is challenging that programming of, you know, be small, don't use your voice, don't be big, don't fucking present yourself out there because you'll get fucking smacked around, you'll get yelled at, like it's just, it's crazy. So I've been trying like very, very small steps of doing this. And you know, I'm lucky in the fact that I have this pause container that I'm in where I know I am with safe people. I'm not gonna get like railroaded if I speak my truth or if I show up and I cry, which I did end up crying in front of like 100 people because I came to them. We had a panel with all the mentors, like about 10, like each 10 people of our group is attached to a mentor throughout the program, so we can, you know, ask questions like, hey, this happened, what is this? So I had all the mentors together and I was like, this is what happened. Like I was freaking out and like I don't like being seen. Like how do I work through this? And I like just, it's very emotional. Like when you realize this, like just, I've been struggling with it. Like I've been crying a lot, like just grieving for the poor little child I was. Like, goddamn. Like no one protected her. No one stood up for her. My dad was physically abusive. My mom would yell a lot, but she also just never protected me or my sister from our dad. And that is just like, it's nuts when you start looking at shit. Let me just put it that way. Like, it's nuts. And you know what? You're not crazy. Like the things you're feeling as you go through your recovery, like it's hard. Like it's ugly. It hurts. And just, I want to like share that for people going through this, you're not wrong. Your feelings, like that's all the shit that got like stomped out of you as a kid that you weren't allowed to feel. Like your feelings are normal, and in a normal, safe house, your parents would have encouraged you and cared about the things that you were feeling and what you were going through. Like the whole, like having parents, like they're your guardians and your guides through life. Like when you have feelings, they're supposed to like, you know, hug you and say, hey, what's going on, Haley? How did that make you feel? What do you want to do about it? How can I help you through this? And when you don't have that and you add in like the abuse, fear of talking about anything, you don't learn to feel through your feelings, and they all get bottled down. And like, dude, like it's a nightmare. It is such a nightmare. And I'm just also realizing, you know, not like, I don't think anyone had healthy parents. Like, sure, like I think everyone goes through some kind of trauma, but it is not normalized to acknowledge it, to talk about it, to share it. Like, we're not meant to be these people that just cram everything down and never talk about how we're feeling, what's going on inside of us, or like any of that. So I've also been dealing with the realization that, okay, with this whole being seen thing, it affects how you relate. Like all of my relationships have been absolute surface level. Like I don't ever talk about feelings. And do you know what that means? There's no genuine connection. None. Like none. Like all the friends I've had, people I've dated, they never knew the real me, because all I knew was to shut up, don't have an opinion, follow the man. Like, you know, this is another shitty thing that happens too. Like repetition compulsion, where if you don't see this stuff happening, you are automatically attracting in people who are going to treat you exactly like your mother or your father or whoever your significant like caregivers were. And that has been my exact story. Like it's crazy in romantic relations and friends. Like it's crazy to me. Like it all it happens because you're not aware. Like when you don't know the underlying stuff in your life, like you're just on a computer going in autopilot, like living the same bullshit over and over again. And like, I don't know about you, but I cannot do that anymore. Like I'm so tired of just nobody knowing me, not having a safe place, and just like fucking thrashing around on the seas of life. It's a shitty way to live. Like, and when you see it, coming out of it is the hardest part. So I think that's what's been happening to me this last week has been pretty hard, because I think a lot of shit was stirred up last week with me like looking at everything and being like, oh my god, this is why I do this is why I never show up, this is why I'm so scared of people. Like I can barely make eye contact with people on the street. Like this is how badly this has affected me. Like looking at people scares me. I'll be straight up honest with you. And if you're a man, if you're a cute man and I look at you like, oh fuck, game over. Like game over. So part of my work here has been realizing this ultra fear of being seen. And, you know, kind of sitting with that, letting that in and letting it be okay. Letting it be okay even like as I was going through this process, that I'm not going to be perfect at this. When you start something new, you're not supposed to be perfect at it. You're supposed to suck and fuck up and forget your shit and just make it through, because that's how you learn. When you make mistakes, you're like, oh, I did this last time, so I want to course correct and go another way the next time. Like, nobody taught me that. I'm 34 years old, like basically now just learning how to live a real true life. And like, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy to me. So basically, that's what happened. Just realizing this fear, sitting with it, and also understanding if I want to change, I need to combat it. Like, I need to see this fear and start showing up differently. And in part, this is what pause has done for me. I know, like from the second I facilitated my first session, like I knew, like this is it. This is what I was meant to do. Like, I am here. This is gonna help people. I want to help people and like just fill in that missing piece, because breathwork has been the missing piece for me. Growing up in dysfunction, abuse, like not having parents who taught me how to feel. Like basically I've just been living 34 years up here in the head area. There's been no body connection, like just none. And when you're living from like your structured mind, like your mind cannot feel what's in your body. It can't. You cannot think your way out of a feeling, which is what I've been learning. And you know, it makes so much sense. Like, you cannot logically think into what your body is feeling, what you have felt, what you have gone through. It doesn't work. So the missing piece for me in the connection in breath work is that when you start breathing, when you learn how to use these techniques to just calm you down, what it's really doing is not shutting your brain down, but like you are moving from up here to into your feeling body, and it starts wiring you with that connection into your body. Because when I first started doing this, like I didn't know how my body felt. Like there was just nothing there. I wasn't taught to like feel, so it was just like, okay, there's a body, like some hands. But like as you start breathing deeper, that connection comes online, because everything is connected. But again, like if you're not using it, it's not gonna, like, it all goes into like your brain patterns. Like if you're stuck in the pattern of always overthinking, analyzing, just stuck in thinking, you're not going to use your body to as a way, like as a litmus test to like how you're feeling. Like, does this feel good? Does that feel good? It's just, everything is interconnected. And if you don't get taught how to like feel into your body, you're not going to be feeling into your body. And so that body connection was something that has been missing for me. Like your body, trusting your intuition, like those two are intertwined. And if you're not using them, you're still stuck in that loop of like the old patterning, because you have to like recognize that and be able to step outside of it, and like to trust, learning to trust yourself. And like that comes in with how you're feeling in your body. Like I've had to learn like to trust myself, because I had no trust in myself. That's another thing your parents are supposed to train you and like build into you, you know. They teach you at a young age to make decisions, like, you know, choices that you want to make. But if your parents didn't do that, like basically you're just living off what they wanted, which is what I had been doing. Like my parents were not out there chasing their dreams. They were not living a good, anything like what I would call good. Like my parents just, there was always lack and fear. And that is what basically has been the starting point for me. Like how I live life is like very fear-based and like just in lack. And that's not the way you're supposed to live. Like you're, as a human being, like the goal of life is to like live a life, not to be afraid of everything. And just, this is a long ass, like so much stuff is coming up right now. It's crazy. Like you're not meant to be this unhappy person just like scared of everything. You're not. And just life is so different when you start awakening and like things get switched on to like, hey, this is not how my life is supposed to be. And it's like that, those moments are just so, they're so good because they start switching you on to making different choices. Like this whole pause choice for me, I can't even explain it to you. Like I was just following my intuition because my intuition was like, you need to do this. You need to be in this space. You need to be doing this. Like, let's go. So I was just like, okay, I'll sign up for this. I'll trust this. I'm going to trust, because the first time I did breath work, it was like fireworks, like a lot, the alarm bells, but like the good alarm that are like, holy fuck, girl, this is it. This is it. Like the first time I did breath work was really the first time I ever felt into my body, and I was like, holy shit, there's something here. There is something here in this connection to my body. And that's been the major thing that has been driving me with breath work. Like I use it every day. This is not something like I use one time and forget about it and don't ever touch it again. Like I breathe through big feelings. I just breathe to connect deeper into myself, because you know, the way you breathe is also deeply connected to the way you live your life. And when I look back, like I even catch myself now, like it ties in with your nervous system. If you feel safe, you're in homeostasis. Your nervous system is relaxed. You're calm. You can take deep breaths and just let stuff go. But when you come from dysfunction, abuse, and just not so great of a childhood, like for me, I am always on alert, watching out for an attack. Like even though like I am miles away from my parents, I know no one's gonna jump out and attack me. But because I've lived in that mindset for so long, like I have to like almost always be aware and like fight against that, because there are times when I'll notice like I'm just breathing so shallowly, just like, and that's a sign that you are in your system is not regulated. When you're always on edge, you know, anticipating like danger or an attack, like you know your system is like hijacked and like on alert. But ways you can combat that are by your breathing. Like when you notice yourself shallowly breathing, or if you're like panicking, you you take a second to be like, oh, okay, breathing is not slowed down. We're activated and we're not in a safe place. So you can take some time to just take some deep breaths. Connect to yourself. Remember where you are. Remember it's your X age. You are in your apartment. I'm on my couch. Like, you know, touch your couch. Like make those connections to like now. And it helps get you out of that activated state. That's been a huge help for me. And like I'm telling you, I use that every day. Like you have to be so like, it's like as your autopilot is hyper vigilant for attacks out there, you now have to become like so aware of what's going on within you, because this is how you change. You got to keep drilling those new pathways in your brain into calmness until like eventually this will become your standard. Like how the dysfunction was your standard, it will pay, like as you keep stopping and disrupting the shallow breathing, the panic breathing, whenever you're feeling activated, you're gonna learn, and it's gonna get easier for you to move from activated into safety and homeostasis. Homeostasis is like your body is safe, your breathing is regulated, your body is not like tensed up for an attack. You can digest, you can rest. And you know, just learning about that has been a game changer for me, because like I've had digestion problems since I was 18 years old. And I know all my problems are connected to like, you know, childhood and like the not feeling my emotions, like running from my emotions, not knowing how to handle them. But yeah, so just, I don't even know, my whole point of this was just to kind of get out there, like, you know, healing is not always pretty. It's not always happiness. Like, you're not gonna, like, it's not wrong. It's not bad that you're not always feeling good. It's not normal as a human to like be 100% happy all of the time. Like, nobody told me this. Like, you see people out there and, you know, I know comparison is not a good thing, but like, you see people that are so happy, and then I just look at me, I'm like, fuck, why can't I be fucking happy like them? And just kind of looking in and accepting, like, okay, Haley, like right now you don't feel good. And it makes sense if you look at the larger picture. Like, for me, 34 years in dysfunction, it doesn't go away overnight. And especially if you're like me, or like me to me, I am me. If I've been running away from feelings, from big shit, like from feeling all this fear of childhood, like, it's gonna take time to process and feel through that. And just understanding, like, you might not be happy every day, and like being okay with that, and that it's gonna take some time to feel through what I've been through and heal it. And it gets healed by me taking the time to be like, something doesn't feel very good right now. And like, I had this happen to me this morning. Like, I don't know if anyone can relate to this, where, you know, you wake up and you're just kind of like, something, it doesn't feel good. Like, I feel heavy. And like, when I feel this way, my kind of key is like, okay, what's happening right now? Like, I'm in my apartment, it's Sunday, like, I have the day off. Like, it's nothing, this is what pinpoints me to it's an old pain. Like, there's nothing in my present environment that is triggering this. Like, I'm safe, I'm in my apartment, like, nothing's happening. So this is my clue to that. This is something old. This is something old that I need to sit with and feel through. And you do this by basically, you know, feeling that yuck, that ugh. Like, and sometimes maybe you won't even have words for what you're feeling. And you know what? That's okay too. You don't have to put words on it. Just locate it in your body. And like, for me, I can feel it, just, there's heaviness here. So what you do then is you just kind of sit with it, allow it, let it be there. Like, what I never knew, you know, your feelings will go away if you just sit and allow and be like, hey, you're here. You can be here. I'm here with you. I love you. You're safe to feel this. And like, this is the kind of guidance your parents should have given to you. This is how you basically reparent yourself. You have to be that comforting, nurturing person maybe you didn't get, and maybe you are experiencing for the first time. And just be very easy with yourself. Love yourself the whole way. Like, no judgment for whatever comes up. Like, what comes up is there. Like, we get stuck if you're feeling pain or feeling anything and like creating a story about it, that's gonna cause you to suffer more. Again, like, you know, you cannot use the brain to solve a feeling. It doesn't work. Like, the stories you create about your pain keep you in suffering. If you can just learn to, you know, disconnect from your brain while you're feeling. Just get into your body, feel where it is. Do not judge yourself. Like, just letting it be. Like, all parts of you, good, bad, ugly, broken, whatever you want to call them, all your parts get to be here with you now. And they deserve your love, whether if you view them good, bad. You know what? They're just here. And it's just a hurt part of you that needs love. And as you learn to just like give every part of you love, it gets better. It gets better. Like, if you keep running, Like, it's just gonna cause that feeling to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you show up and just say, hey, you're here, I love you, I'm here with you, like, it makes it so much easier. And you'll find that the bigness, that the yuck, it goes away. And you know what, it might pop up again, but this is like a repetitive cycle. With any feeling that comes up, just allow it, love on it, let it be with you. Don't judge it. Just be like, hey, okay, you're here, I got you, you can be here. You know, that's been a huge thing for me. So basically, my whole point of this video was just to get on here and just kind of share what I'm going through. Because, like, for me, I don't have a lot of people talking like this. Like, I have no guides. Like, my whole hope here is to be a guide for someone who needs it. Because, like me, I had to figure all this out by myself. And that makes it hard too. Like, if you feel like you're so fucking alone on this healing journey, but you're not. You are not. Like, your people are out there. And if I could just give you anything, is that the belief to not give up. Not give up. Like, the things you're dreaming about and the things you want, they are so achievable for you. Like, to live healthy, you can do it. You can do anything. Like, the thoughts of a bigger life for you, the thoughts of, you know, branching out on your own. Maybe you want to leave your dysfunctional family, but you don't think you have the courage to. You can do it. You can do it. You can do hard things. You can do big things, and you can make your dreams come true. It all starts with you. Like, you are the drug. You are the healer of your life. And just once you start seeing that and believing in that, like, your life changes. Like, no one else outside of you is gonna come in and do this work for you. You have to do it yourself. And, you know, as you see the things in you that maybe aren't the true you, celebrate the shit out of yourself for seeing that. Because you're seeing, like, yourself is, like, in the lower part. Like, let's say for me, like, my example of being seen, like, that is, it's not authentically me. And my, like, one of my values now is to live as my authentic self. So that means, you know, I've got to start showing up, acknowledging that, like, this fear is here. I mean, hello, like, you know, I don't know, today I'm not scared to, like, show up on camera. This used to be a huge ass fear for me though, you know, people seeing me talking about me, like, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know what I say is not going to land with everybody, but it will land with the people who need to hear this. And this will land, like, wherever it needs to land, it's going to hit the people it needs to hit. And just, you know, you've got to learn to detach from the naysayers, the people like, oh, you can't do that. Bah, 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 bah. You know, I've heard it all my life. Like, my parents, you know, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? You know, you have to believe in yourself more than you believe in that other chatter outside of you. And once you start doing that, the change is going to become a lot more easy. And I just, you know, want to cheer you on. Like, do your big things. Like, show up where you're scared. Like, it's okay to be scared as you do new things. I mean, that's normal. Like, when you do something new, you've never done it before, so there's some amount of fear there. You're like, oh, what if I mess up? What if I blah, 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 you know? But something that also helps me is, you know, taking all those what ifs and making them a positive. Like, what if it turns out perfectly? What if I kick this thing's ass? What if I show up and it just, I don't know here, because you know what, I don't show up a lot, but you know what if I show up and I'm received? You know, that's what happened when I came on and cried in front of 100 people. Like, people came out of the blue. They were like, oh my God, Haley, I have this same fear. Like, I don't want people to see me. Like, you know, when you show up, you find your people, you find other people like you going through what you're going through. And you know, that just came to me. Like, that's what happens when you show up and you do things you haven't done or that you're scared to do. You know, life is going to help you. It's going, like, the universe is here to support you. And as you learn and you grow, you're just going to gain more knowledge and more, like, more confidence, which is really what's happening for me. Like, I am breaking out of this shy, small person and learning to take up space in life. And you know, you can do the same thing. Like, this is out here for you too. Anyone can do this. Anyone. No matter what you've come from, no matter like if you've had the hardest childhood, hardest life, like, you can turn it around. Believe me, you can. Just don't give up. If I could give you any advice out there, just don't give up and feel the hard shit. Like, move through it, let it go. And don't forget to breathe, because breathing is the key. Like, just, I'll be posting some more. As I become a facilitator, I'm gonna post some tips and just the breaths that I use to help me move through heavy feelings, heavy things, and just ways that I use to cope with everyday life. So if you're here and you enjoyed this video, if you could relate to anything, you know, please drop a comment below. If you have questions, drop a comment below. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm grateful that you are here, and I'm just wishing you a helpful, healing, and just loving journey. You know, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, and you know what? You got this. You got this. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.